YouTube? I am Levi, and that is Howie, and this is Northwest Magic, here to talk about one of the new precons. What is this one called? Freaking Endless Punishment with Valgavoth. But first, here's Howie with our sponsors.
Hello, my name is Howie. Welcome to Northwest Magic. First, I want to shout out our two lovely patrons, Richard Dilkes and King Dom. You guys are awesome. If you, other viewer, want to become a patron, check out our Patreon. We got cool perks. We'll have better perks in the future. Give us your money so that we can
be more funny.
Arm because check this out.
Yeah.
There goes my mic. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to fix my mic, please, for the love of God. Give us your money. Anyway, I also want to shout out our sponsor, Oni Discs. Elevate your disc golf game. They have a great amount of discs to choose from for your disc golf experience. You can elevate your disc golf game. They're going to have jerseys soon if they don't already. I forgot to wear my jersey. They gave me a jersey. It's pretty sick. Check this out. Oh, there it is. That's a good shot,
that's a sick jersey.
Right there. That's only the front.
So, we're going to start with the ads. We're
going to start with reading the commander.
Oh, yeah, I should probably, yeah. Valgavoth, Harrower of Souls for 2 black and a red. Flying ward, pay 2 life. Whenever an opponent loses life for the first time during each of their turns, put a 1/1 counter on Valgavoth and draw a card. You could very potentially be getting 3 cards a turn. Or, yeah, 3 cards a cycle, sorry.
I think that this is my favorite commander out of all the precons. I mean, yeah. I've been talking to you about building this deck, and I think it's sweeter than it reads, because I know a lot of people are reading it and they're like,
whatever.
Obnixilis Light, huh?
Obnixilis Light.
Speaking of, let's move on to our first Obnixilis Captive Kingpin. 2 a black and a red. For a legendary creature demon, that's another demon with flying and trample. Whenever one or more opponents each lose exactly 1 life, put a +1/+1 counter on Obnixilis Captive Kingpin. Exile the top card of your library until your next end step. You may play that card. I mean, they're both really good. I'm not trying to discount anything, but like they complement each other, and I think that you want both in each deck. And this is a Valgavoth upgrade, so we're sticking with Valgavoth. Either way, this guy will drown you in card advantage, while Valgavoth also does the same. And it will be another big flying beater with trample built in.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of just pingers in here already, so you're just gonna double your value at that point. So, and who doesn't like double value? You know what I'm saying?
I live off double value. If this deck was Grixis, I would have so many clones in here.
Yeah, it would just be clone after clone. Speaking of things that complement each other, Razorkin Needlehead, Baby Shieldred, Red Shieldred.
Shield Red.
Shield Red. Man, I can't believe I didn't think of that. 2 red. He has first strike during your turn. Whenever an opponent draws a card, Razorkin Needlehead deals 1 damage to them. This is going to do exactly what Obby Nix wants. This is going to do exactly what Valgavoth wants.
Yeah.
Razorkin Needlehead. Yeah. I think he should just go in. He's awesome.
Spoilers, almost all our ads are going to do exactly what we want. Next we have, this might be the best.
Wouldn't add him.
The best ad after Obnixilis, in my opinion, is a Roiling Vortex, 1 in a red, for an enchantment at the beginning of each at the beginning of each player's upkeep, including yourself. It deals 1 damage to them. That's okay. We get more value than them. Whenever a player casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast that spell, Roiling Vortex deals 5 damage to that player. And then you can pay a red, and your opponents can't gain life this turn. This is really pulling its weight. And in a world where we have fierce guardianships running around and deflecting swats and anything, like, I don't know, people play cards that reduce things mana costs and then they're just casting stuff for free. Like, This kind of hoses Amanatu's augury, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be playing that into this.
Yeah, I'm loving the more things to stifle your opponent's gaining life, the better, in my opinion. Because
Oh, yeah.
life gain is
great.
really strong. Like, I understand commander damage is definitely a thing. That's why it's there. I'm a commander damage lover myself. But a lot of my decks, aside from maybe a few, would kind of fold to mega life gain. And Valgavoth has the potential to get bigger so that you can potentially kill people with commander damage, but I do think these strategies are still a little more reliant on burn than commander damage. But he does notably get big if you allow
after
it.
one turn cycle, he's only 3 swings away from that.
Yep. You just got to make sure he sticks around. He's probably going to be a removal target.
He's got the ward, though.
He does have the ward,
for.
And you draw a card if it's on their turn. Anyway. Oh, one that I find really cool that I've never personally played, but I think would be a really good include is Rug of Smothering. It's a 3 artifact creature construct flying. Whenever a player casts a spell, they lose 1 life for each spell they've cast this turn. Rug of Smothering just works really well because it cares about the person playing their spell, which typically they do on their turn. So, typically. And
I think most people will play at least 1 spell on their turn for sure.
Yeah, any spell. And it does the 1 damage for Ob Nixilis. It does the damage for Valgavoth. It does pretty much exactly what I said, Razorkid Needlehead. Yeah, I think it just fits in so well.
Yeah, and it hoses Storm decks too, if that shows up.
Honestly, yeah, get them Storm decks out of here.
I like Storm. 5 spells in 1 turn, that's like 15 damage or something, quick math.
I like Storm, but that would really smother their rug. If
that would really rug them the wrong way.
It would really... Howie, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave.
Dude, I'm a dad. I got dad jokes. So now I'm gonna add Chandra, Awakened Inferno. 4 red for a legendary planeswalker Chandra. It can't be countered. That's cool. +2, each opponent gets an emblem with at the beginning of your upkeep. This emblem deals 1 damage to you. Wow, it does the thing. And that's multiplicative if you get more. So every single turn, they'll take 1, and then 2, and then 3, and so on. Her -3 deals 3 damage to each non-elemental creature. That's good for a mini board wipe if you need it. And -X deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker. If a permanent dealt damage this way would die this turn. Exile it instead. Mostly you're going to be doing the +2. But it's good. It does what you want.
Talking about Chandras. Chandra. That's all we're talking about. Let's talk about Chandra's Ignition while we're at it. 3 red. Sorcery. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to each other creature and each opponent. This one's just solid for that board wipe that you're going to probably need. Valgavoth's going to get nice and chunky and large. So he will probably be the thing that you hit people with.
He will.
Damage
I think that this card will actually end games pretty regularly. You play it later, and let's say you play on turn like 7. Let's say you had a really hot start, and Valgavoth is like a 17/17 or something. Like, that's really good. All of a sudden, each of your opponents take 17, and then he swings in, knocks someone else out. They've already taken damage. It's good. It's very good.
I'm done talking about the Chandras.
Okay, I didn't usually you have something to add, so that's fine. Spicy ad. Karazakar the Eye Tyrant. 3, a black and a red for a Beholder. That's a D&D thing. Shout out BG3. Whenever you attack a player, tap target creature that player controls and goad it. Whenever an opponent attacks another one of your opponents, you and the attacking player each draw a card and lose a life. You are giving your opponents cards, but you're probably removing a lot of their creatures in the process. And they're losing that 1 life. The 1 life that they're losing is the important part.
Karazakar is definitely one of the exceptions for me when it comes to giving your opponents cards, because it's doing so many other things. I mean, you're getting heat off of you while goading other people's creatures. You're doing the 1 life thing so that you're drawing a card, and then you're drawing a card off of Valgavoth, most likely, as well. It's triple the value. Have we ever had that on the channel? Triple the value?
Yeah, I'm sure we have. I like talking about value.
Howie.
I'm an Is It Simic player at heart or something like that. And what the hell you mean? All I do is value.
Yeah. I think it's a new milestone for us, Howie.
I hope so.
Magebane Lizard. That's it's a lizard. 1 red. Creature lizard. Whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, it deals damage to that player equal to the number of non-creature spells they've cast this turn. He's a 1/4. Lizards don't usually have big butts, but this one does.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, guys. We've been saying a lot of cards here, and they're all functionally doing the same thing.
Yeah.
With different flavors. I don't really have much to say about this. I think if you read it, you will understand it, why it's in here.
Yeah.
You know?
For the same thing. That's why we added Sulfuric Vortex, 1 red enchantment. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, it deals 2 damage to that player. If a player would gain life, they gain no life instead. We've already hit all the same points like you just said. We're just really making this... We really want Valgavoth to trigger every opponent's turn. Do you understand? You will get so much. You will be drowning in card advantage. You want this. You want this. You want this.
Yeah. And I think we have Pyrohemia that we added to. Did you talk about... No, I don't think you talked about that.
We didn't talk about it yet. It's
at end
card.
of turn. If no creatures are in play, sacrifice Pyrohemia. For 1 red, Pyrohemia deals 1 damage to each creature and each player. That's repeatable effect even on you. Like, so even if somebody for some reason doesn't get hurt on their turn somehow, you can just be like, 1 red, boop. Heh, I'll take a card. Thanks. Thank you.
And I don't have the full precon list in front of me right now, but I believe that there's not a lot of like 1 or 2 toughness creatures in the deck. So you can probably like do like mini board wipes with this too. Just swing things in your favor. Activate it twice during someone's turn, and all of a sudden you're the only person with it. Any sizable creatures.
Karazakar, Magebane Lizard, and Razorkin Needlehead all live from this.
Yeah, they live from it too.
So
at least from 1.
And Omnixilus.
Yeah, there's
literally no downside, guys.
Omnixilus gets a +1 counter every time you do this, so that's a
so
good
it's
synergy,
literally
you know
impossible for him to die. It's not, but
now I'm gonna start talking about the cuts. And I really want to talk about Stormfist Crusader. I hate this. I read this and I was like, are you kidding me? Black Red Menace. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player draws a card and loses 1 life. Valgavoth only triggers if they lose life on their own turn. So this does nothing but basically draws everybody a card. And they do take a damage, which is what we're group slugging it up. But that's just not it. It doesn't make any sense to be here. I hate it.
Yeah, the math is not quite there for this. I want to be hurting them on, like you said, their turn. Why do I care if it's on my turn?
It's dumb.
I just don't care. Not good. So one that is kind of weird is Bastion of Remembrance. Took that one out. 2 and a black enchantment. When it enters, you create a 1/1 white human soldier. Whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. There's not a whole lot of aristocrat stuff just in general in here. And, like, I guess, maybe if you get board wiped or somebody pays the ward and kills Valgavoth. Not even you wouldn't even... Regardless, it doesn't synergize all that well with this.
No, we're not an aristocrat deck.
Yeah.
It's an auto-include.
It's not a reliable way to get damage. Like, Pyrohemia is.
Yeah, and I don't know. Our stuff isn't really... We're not making, like, very many, if any, creature tokens at all. So it's just not going to happen during your opponent's turn often.
Yep. Weird.
In the same vein, we're cutting Morbid Opportunist, 2 and a black. Whenever one or more other creatures die, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. It is any creature, whether it's yours or your opponent's, so that is cool. It will trigger, like, incidentally over time, but we're not banking on that. And we added... It doesn't even matter what we added, because Valgavoth is, like, our main draw engine. You know what I'm saying? Like, you do know what I'm saying. We don't need this.
Yeah, I would prefer to just use some really classic draws like Knight's Whisper, Sign in Blood. Stuff like that. Like, just some sorcery speed draws I'm a little more fond of for this. At least in the vacuum of what Valgavoth is. What the heck is this again? Spiteful Visions? 2 and 2 hybrid Rakdos pips. Enchantment. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card. Whenever a player draws a card, Spiteful Vision deals 1 damage to them. I like that. I like that, it's just another effect for that. But
I hate that. Because it counts you, and you're drawing a lot.
You're drawing a lot. Oh god, I didn't read that correctly. Oh my god!
I actually, when I did my when I built my list for my planned Valgavoth deck, I added this because I was like, oh, that sounds pretty good. That's what we want. It's just another one of those effects. And then I sat there and I decided to make some cuts, and I was like, oh wait, my opponents are going to take 2 damage a turn cycle, and I'm going to take 5. Something's not adding up.
I don't like this.
Yeah,
and I'm giving them cards.
That's really what it is. So overall, you're dealing 6 damage a turn cycle with this, but you're taking 5. You are getting outpaced in the damage department that way. Like, per player, whatever.
Yeah.
2 per player.
It's not
5 for
work.
you. It's not good.
It's doing the 1 damage thing that we like, but not in the way that we like.
Yeah, we want the 1 damage, like Razorkin Needlehead we added, right? Whenever an opponent draws a card, it deals 1 damage to them. Big difference. Big difference. We don't want to be getting outpaced because it's like our whole thing is group slugging it out. It should go. Anyway, you know what else should go? Do you? Rakdos. Lord of Riots. You can't cast this spell unless an opponent lost life this turn. Flying, trample. Creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each 1 life your opponents have lost this turn. Again, you're going to be drawing a lot of cards, so you will never not be playing your land drop every turn. You will probably be able to play extra mana rocks each turn. And there are not a lot of big creatures in our deck that can get too much of a discount, maybe 2 tops. Really, I don't think that this is pulling its weight here, especially because the only life people are going to be losing during your turn are when Valgavoth attacks them. Probably.
Yeah. You ping and you hit for big damage with your commander. So, this doesn't work out in the curve super well. I could definitely, if you're drawing cards and it's if you're struggling to find things to reliably get your engine going, I could see Rakdos in your hand just being a dead card. Especially if you don't have Valgavoth even out yet.
Yeah.
Dead card in your hand. So
not great.
I don't like that. Fear of Burning Alive. 4 red. Ugh. When it enters, it deals 4 damage to each opponent. Alright. Delirium. Whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, Fear of Burning Alive deals that amount of damage to target creature that player controls. This isn't horrible, but it is overcosted, and it is not reliable. The Delirium part is... I mean, you know, maybe you'll get Delirium because you're probably going to be drawing a decent amount. You might even have to discard every once in a while, but...
This is probably the best card we're cutting, but 6 mana is rough for this. If this was 4 mana, I would have...
probably kept it.
I would have considered something else to cut.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I was building...
It's neat, though. I like the concept. Also, you need to watch out if you do keep this card in the deck because it's non-combat damage. We do have things that cause loss of life, which is not considered damage. Like Karazakar would not trigger this because they lose a life versus...
he's not damaging him. Correct. Yeah, look at that. Some Howie advice from Howie segment.
Yeah, you want to know some other advice I got for you? Cut Vile Smasher the Fierce. 1, a black and a red for a Goblin Berserker. Whenever you cast your first spell each turn, choose an opponent at random. Vile Smasher the Fierce deals damage equal to that spell's converted mana cost to that player or a planeswalker that player controls. If you are like building this deck from the ground up, maybe you want to include this because you'll probably have more instants than the deck comes with, but the deck comes with only 6 instants. So you will not be triggering this on your opponent's turns very often. Actually, no, I don't think, because it's random. Oh, you don't want this. Because you want to hit the person on their own turn. You really don't want this card. The more I thought about it, the more it's not good to you. This ain't it. It's not worth it.
Yeah. I love the card as itself. I am a Vile Smasher fan.
I think everyone's pretty on board with Vile Smasher being one of the better partner commanders out there, at least in like the non-competitive side. I don't think there's competitive Vile Smasher decks, but yeah.
It's just Vile Smasher is just a very fun card to play. The randomness aspect is nice. But yeah, not good in this deck. We like them, but not good in this deck. And now, Combustible Gearhulk. I like Combustible Gearhulk too. It's a decent card. Still a pretty pricey card. 4 red, just like Fear of Burning Alive. First strike 6/6. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent may have you draw 3 cards. If the player doesn't, you mill 3 cards. Then it deals damage to that player equal to the total mana value of those cards. This doesn't quite work in here because I don't think there's a ton of huge CMCs in here. And plus, Valgavoth is a good draw engine anyway. 6 mana for this doesn't let you really have the opportunity to leave up your mana super hard for the cycle. It's just kind of it doesn't work here. I like the card though.
I do also like Combustible Gearhulk. It's better in decks where there's like either an artifact synergy, a blink, or you don't care if you mill the cards versus draw them. But yeah, we're not really doing any of those things. And the damage that it does, if your opponent picks the damage, is on your own turn, which we are trying to get away from. Last 2 cuts we have are lands. I hate Temple of the False God. Yeah, even in a budget deck, I would never consider to run this card. It is terrible. I can't believe they are still putting it in precons. This card needs to be phased out. Play Talon Gates of Madara, phase this card out. Not a creature, can't do that. Rules infraction. Also cut Geothermal Bog or any other tapped land that is in the deck. This one is just enters the battlefield tapped. It is a swamp and a mountain. We're not playing fetch lands. We're a budget 10 card ad precon.
Yeah.
It's not good.
We don't need that many.
Don't matter. Yeah.
Yeah, once you get this deck, just take Temple of the False God and probably put it in your bike spokes and use it. Along with your Jeweled Lotus, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, put those in your bike spokes, and it makes the It's not. It doesn't make that sound, but it makes a close sound. Anyway, guys, this has been our upgrade guide. 10 cards in, 10 cards out. Let us know what you think. Did we miss the mark on some of these? Did we have really good ideas? Tell us in the comments.
Let me know what you guys are going to add, because I'm going to build this deck and I want to hear your suggestions for sure.
With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching.
Bye.
Bye.